listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, man? This is your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. Today, we got an amazing independent creator. He is a writer. He is kicking ass. He's a poet. Apparently, he's also a superhero by day. He's surrounded by comics, apparently. The man is wild. He got a dope new book coming out from Scout Comics called Junction Jones and the Corduroy Conspiracy. Let me introduce one half of the creative duo of this brand new book dropping at your favorite LCS, Mr. Tom Pescatore. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look, I'm all wild and he's all chill. Man. So what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, bro. So I obviously had the pleasure, privilege, if you will, of checking out this issue in advance. And let me tell you, wow, I love black and white art too. So like, first hooked me like a fish on that. And reading through the story and whatnot, kudos to you and your boy Loco Gonzalez, Huepa, hermano, doing their thing. So, we're going to get into it now, folks. We're going to meet Tom, and then we're going to get into this whole new, Pescatore verse over here and find out what's popping, all right? So with that, Tom, what up, homie? Where you from, OG, and what was your first taste of fandom?
I'm originally from, right outside Philly. And it's actually, I guess it's probably my mom. She had a bunch of old comics. I don't know if they were hers or my uncle's. And it's how I learned to read. So she would read me old issues of Spider-Man when I was 2. And when I learned to talk, I would just remember each page. And I would just take it to people. And I would just from memory, without knowing how to read, just read the comic book to them.
Oh, damn.
And, so through that I did learn to read, and I guess the first comics I bought were from Rite Aid or the supermarket. It was if I went into a store with my mom, I was coming out with a comic.
You and me both, bro. Because if I went to Graham Avenue with my mom, and I'm helping her with the bags, payment was a comic.
Yeah, yeah. For me too, it was anything I was gonna do if I got a little bit of money, It was I'm getting 2 comics that day. And then we moved a couple miles away, and near my elementary school there was the first comic book store I ever saw, which is called Comics Etc. And I used to save my lunch money so I'd have more money to buy comics. It was the first place. I was the only kid. I used to sneak in there during recess and just sit on the floor.
You weren't cutting class, were you?
No, just recess. They would have known if I cut class. But the people there were really cool, and they would just give me advice or their, the comics they liked. So that's really where it started. It's G.I. Joe, Spider-Man, Batman, that kind of stuff.
That's my shit. G.I. Joe for sure. Transformers, Conan.
Yeah, Transformers.
Sword. All that shit was my jam. Oh yeah, and my mama was again picking me up Suicide Squad. That one right after the the black cover with from 87 Suicide Squad. That was dope. Mama was buying me serious tone things for a kid. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the good things, right? You have a parent that doesn't really know, and they're just my kid likes comics. I'm just gonna grab all these comics.
Oh yeah, like I said, she was giving me Savage Sword of Conan with full of titties. You know what I mean? I'm hey, yo, no problem. Thanks, bro. Thank God she ain't flipping through it. She is going by the cover. Oh, this looks cool. Excellent. All right. So you're telling me you were a lone wolf throughout, school in the collecting world, or did you have a little tribe?
No, pretty much just me. And a lot of help from older guys. There was the second comic store I went to was called Showcase Comics. And that's really where I've had a file for I've had a pull list for 30 years, I think.
Oh damn!
Yeah, and the guy that worked the desk was named his name's Scott Neely, and he left. He was a to do art for. I think he did Green Lantern for a while and Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah, yes.
And he gave me all his Spider-Man comics.
What?
He just was like, I'm moving, I can't take them. And it was like probably everything from like 77 to like 93. He just
get out.
He was just like, here you go. You can have all this. So I just like so Spider-Man for me, it was like the main, like that was where I was like, I'm gonna spend all my money on Spider-Man comics growing up.
That's some good stuff between those years. I mean, tons of great. Woo! Boy, you must have had a smile ear to ear looking like Toka that day. Shit. I would have. Oh my God! Did you know what you just gave me, homie?
But it wasn't really until college that I found other people that were, into comics.
Okay. So when you were going to school, were you getting creative, writing? Was that something you would do?
Yeah.
Always then?
I wanted to be an artist at first. I took like art classes, and I put a lot of stuff into it, but I eventually got to the point where like I felt like I couldn't really go any further.
Okay.
Like I think I like stopped at the point where you're supposed to keep going to like break through the wall, like creative wall.
He stopped at the wall and made a sharp left.
Yeah. So that's where I started, and I think that coincided with my like. So I didn't have anybody to hang out with, so I didn't know anything about like underground comics or any kind of like more adult comics. So like I veered off into reading like fiction, literature and stuff, and poetry, and that's really where I went to like maybe I'm not going to make it as a comic artist, but maybe I can make it as a writer, or something like that. So I started putting more effort in like poetry and short story writing, things like that.
All right. And so when you started putting that effort, when was the first time that you submitted? And how was that experience like? Were you scared, nervous?
I think at first, and then I just said, well, if it's terrible, I'm not going to hear anything back, So,
which is just as bad, I think, because you don't hear anything back. God damn
it. When I don't hear anything back, I've learned that that's like the word, I'd rather someone talk about it than just crickets.
Yeah, right? Don't ghost me, man. Tell me it sucks. At least I have something. Excellent. So what was that first time like when you actually got something, they submitted something and they said yes?
Yeah, I remember it was a magazine called Kerouac's Dog from England, and it was
from England.
So I've also parallel to my like comics and like literature career, I'm really interested in so I have a graduate degree in history, and really interested in like urban history and like homeless communities, like migrant communities, hobos and things like that. So and like tall tales. So like I started working. One of my ideas was like working with like tall tales and like kind of like finding like new American myths. Yeah. Really, like how can you like take like John Henry or Paul Bunyan or something like that and bring it to like a modern, like a surreal way. And I guess my vehicle was, I guess you could kind of see in Junction Jones, the hobos and like
like Skid Row
culture and things like that.
That's why I'm smiling over here, because you're saying that. I'm like, okay, that's everything started the book.
So the story I submitted was like a fairy tale.
All right. It
was like a fairy tale poem about like a strange, like migrant populations on like a strange world. It's like a love poem, which is surprising. I don't really write like that kind of stuff, but that was what was taken. I was like, okay, maybe I can.
Hey, maybe I could get mushy. Maybe I'm doing the mushy stuff good. Too funny. All right, so you're doing that. All right, you're writing stuff. Mm-hmm. When did you start? When did you dive back, like
into comics?
Something in comics, yeah. When did that happen?
So after graduate school, I couldn't find a job, and to, like, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna move back home, live with a couple friends, and then work on, getting like an adjunct professor job or something. And so I moved back into the house with a couple of guys that I used to do like film stuff with and write with. And we played a RPG that one of my friend Will, ran with superheroes, because we had all superheroes in common, and we were like, hey, maybe we could, like, a couple of the guys in it, like, after it was over, were like, maybe we should just write comics. Like, and they were like, Tom, you're like basically grew up with, like, you don't have any memory prior to comic books. Like, why don't we work on comics? So we still do self-publishing of like a superhero universe.
Okay.
So we started working on that in like 2013 maybe. And made millions of mistakes, especially
not millions of dollars, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably thousands of dollars, but millions of mistakes, and just figuring out, like, how to work with an artist, like what kind of paper we like, what kind of thing do we like.
So what was that learning curve like? Because, you've always been a reader and a consumer. Now you're stepping into, like, all right, I'm going to do my own stuff. So what was that learning curve like for you?
It was pretty steep, and there was, moments where we thought we were going to quit. And but for me, there was never a moment I wanted to quit. I was like, finally, like, I'm making comics. I don't care, like, how bad our printing looks, or, one of the things that saved us was that we learned how to letter using Clip Studio, and that helped me a lot, because there was so much I wanted to change after I saw the art. Like when I'm working with Luciano, like I basically rewrite the dialogue, like, as I get pages, and then
really?
Yeah, so we have a script like on Google Drive, and I'm like editing the script as I see his pages. I'm like, okay, this, I'll have him draw this now. I'm gonna change the dialogue here.
So, all right. So you said, okay. So you started venturing into creativity 2013. Happy 10-year anniversary. 10-year anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. 10 years of you delving.
Yeah.
So what is it like to work, with a team and building the book? Other than just the journey, but what was that? How was the communication, when you guys started first building before you even get into Junction?
Yeah, I mean, that's like my favorite stuff. Like, it's like I have an idea, but then what I'm presenting, sometimes I realize, like, isn't the idea that I think I'm presenting, and then sometimes I'll see, like, how, like, Luciano or the other artists that I've worked with on the superhero stuff, like, how they draw someone and, like, the kind of vibe they're getting from them, and I'm like, oh, that's like a better idea than what I had. Like, that kind of, like, they understand them a little bit. Or I'll see, like, little, like, with, like, I'll see some body language, like, once you start seeing the images, you have to, like, recrystallize what you thought the character was. And it's like a different, once you have that other person, it's like, okay, well, it's a different character now. It's like a different story than I thought we were making.
It's a nice combination of different personalities, right? Because, it's two different personalities working on this book. So, you start first to have this personality view. Now you got this. Now you've created something new that actually works them most together. A whole new organism. Wepa!
Yeah.
Love it. Let's dig in it. So, talk about you finding the guy that I see next to your name in the background. Yeah. Loco Gonzalez.
Yeah, he likes to go by a moniker. His name's Luciano.
All right. And where did you find Luciano?
So Junction Jones started as a sequel to a novel I wrote in 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the original idea was that it was going to be like a surrealist pulp, like a surrealist crime noir, and you weren't going to know that the cat was a cat. Like, he was going to be the narrator of the story. And I just couldn't get any inspiration for it. It was just sitting for such a long time. And my friend Vince was like, why don't you just make it a comic? You already do these other comics. So I was like, maybe I will make it a comic. So I was just sitting with it. My son was just born. So like I'm sitting at night so I can handle like, changing diapers and stuff. So I just started like typing out a script for it. And then while I'm doing that, like when I'm just like resting after like dealing with him the whole day, I'm just like scrolling art pages, ArtStation and DeviantArt and stuff. And then I came upon this photo of Mickey Mouse like eating a child, or like Totoro kind of like ready to put the child in his mouth. And I was like, there's something about the line that this guy has, And then I look at all of the rest of his stuff. Nothing else is like that. It's all like cyberpunk, like post-apocalyptic worlds. And I was like, I wouldn't even have to explain the world to this guy. Like he could just start like right away, So I sent him the script, and I was like, "Are you interested in this?" And he just responded, "Yes." And I was like, "All right, well, let's do it."
Yeah, man. Let's start seeing some of these pages, because here's something. Oh man. So talk about it. Junction. What is Junction Jones? Or who is, and what's up in this world of the Pescatore verse? What is this?
Yeah. So the Junction is like a nexus between realities and space. So like fourth, fifth dimensional realities, and then space like Earth, where in Junction it's like a gigantic factory and slum, and they're like wealthy aliens and wealthy beings from other dimensions use it as a conduit to like enter human bodies on Earth, and like and like just live out their like a human life. And Junction Jones is a laborer. He's like a biologically created, like grown laborer. But his fault was that he was like born with sentience. So they just threw him in the trash, and now he has to live in like the sprawling slum of the city. And since it's like a capitalist dystopia, he does have to make money. So so he calls himself a PI, but he's really just like a he's picking up like recycling stuff. Like, he's just like picking up.
So he really ain't shit. He really ain't shit. All right, because you wrote him with such awesome swag that you think
he does have some swag.
He got the swag and pulls that shit off for being a nobody. Although there was some scene of me, I'm like, yo, bro, like if it was me, like shut the F up and leave already. What are you doing?
Yeah, so like each issue is kind of written around like a single moment.
Yeah.
And I think that came from it originally being like a novel.
Okay.
So I don't think it has like a traditional comic book setup.
Oh, it was definitely a different read, yes. In the flow. It was definitely a traditional comic read.
Yeah, and that was another thing that was weird for me. Yeah, like the flow. I was like, the flow's not going to be like your normal comic.
But again, it's experimentation, and I think you guys pulled it off wonderfully.
Yeah,
an amazing book. Again, with the wordplay and then the imagery, as you say. Because I mean, look at this panel work right here. Look at the art. Amazing.
And I wanted the cat to be like the bad cop, and Junction Jones is kind of the good cop, but he's like a tank, I guess. Because I mean, I see some of the things were like I didn't want to reveal, but it's like you kind of had to in the pitch. Yeah. So like he was created to like hard labor for a specific amount of time. So he is like a tank kind of character. Like he can take a ton of damage.
Okay.
And if you make a character like that pretty intelligent, I think that's what makes him dangerous. And then the cat thinks he's like a 1920s like Sam Spade.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, he thinks he's like Casablanca. He thinks he's like Humphrey Bogart or something.
The cat really is a dick, though. I'll say that one. But I love that you created some interplay there where they just called him a cat, and man, he let it out, boy. Like, woo!
Yeah, man, I feel like most cats in fiction are kind of like stoic or kind of whimsical, and I was like, I want the cat to kind of be an asshole,
Because let's be honest, folks, some cats are assholes. Yeah, they are.
The cat that he's based off of is pretty much an asshole.
This is comic books, folks. This is what you want. You want sci-fi, dystopian stories. I mean, a bum that thinks he's a PI, talking cats that are just, dicks. Is wonderful. What more could you ask for in comics? And it's really good. I mean, look at this artistry here. Look at that. Look at that one page. And about in regards to the scene that I actually just mentioned.
Yeah,
dope artwork. Look at that. I love it, man.
Yeah, I wanted to build the comic around like small, like kind of like seemingly inconsequential reveals that are like in like comical, but also kind of like horrific or sad.
Oh, yeah. But again, as you get towards the end of this particular issue, you start like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, whoa.
That's also one of the concepts of the absurdity is that like you understand that this book is like a crime noir, so you understand like what the characters have to do, but like the mystery makes no sense.
Yeah, so I was lost.
I
was lost for a minute there. I was like, okay, but then I'm seeing actions, and again, your artist is smart. You guys are smart on how, again, you guys observe the art really well, and then it'll help you very much in understanding like what the heck is going on. And also, if you're street smart, you definitely get the crap out of this book.
Yeah. That was kind of the goal of it, really.
Ooh, who is this homie right here?
This is a hobo that you meet later on in the story.
Whoa! I mean, before a hobo, he dressed kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. He's a bit like a trickster, kind of like a coyote type cat, like the Native American like coyote god.
Oh, okay,
he's kind of like similar in that way.
God, that is the classiest hobo ever, son.
Yeah, and that's where kind of like the tall tale myth starts to come in, where like there are these god like characters that start to appear that are part of like the mystery. Okay. So they start to interact more with like dangerous characters from like the underworld of Junction.
Ooh. So what does the underworld of Junction deal with?
It's basically like a survival world.
Okay.
So it gets into a little bit of the backstory where it was a little more free in Junction, a little more like Wild West. Mm-hmm. And then the Junction Authority was able to basically seal off like the dimensional travel and like monetize it and commodify it.
Oh, okay, guys. So there goes a capitalistic angle.
Yeah. So like the hobos used to travel to Earth and just kind of mess around. Okay. Throughout our history, but now they can't. Now they're like, hunted because they're not paying their crossing fees and things like that.
Of course not. The guy has an empty cup. How can he pay for it? I mean, poor guy. Shit, but how do you collect money out there?
And that's like I wanted to add like a silent film element to the whole thing, and that's one of the reasons why a majority of the comic is in black and white.
Well, I'm digging it. I love that the style, of course. So, what was that reaction like when you pitched it to Scout and they said yes? Because obviously, we're gonna see it from them. What was that like?
Disbelief at first. Like I got the email and I was like, because I don't know. I mean, I really, really like I said, I think it's a good story, but it is, there's a lot of strangeness, weirdness to it. And right away, like I think it was like 5 days, and they were like, they sent back like, yeah, we'll take it. We want to publish it, and I was like,
oh man.
And I think at that point we had like 2 issues done. So then Luciano was like, oh, I better get going,
So yeah, so was he in on the email at the same time as you guys called each other? I mean, what was that celebration like? Like, oh man, we getting published, huh?
Yeah, we talk mostly like on Facebook Messenger.
All right.
And a couple times on video chat. But I just like took a screenshot of the email, and I sent it to him. I was like, look, we're getting published, so we better get going,
Awesome, That is amazing. So what are we looking oh man, look again, before we get into that, look at this page, guys. What? Gangster. Again, that wide cinematic look on the panels with little boxes. I mean, so much eye candy, dude. So much eye candy. Talk about this page, brother, because this is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, so that's another one of the dangerous underworld characters. This Forschmach Toot, and he's like a carny. He's like the head of a underground carnival, basically. And if you saw, in the back of the comic, there's a bunch of like metatextual stuff.
Oh, yep.
There's like fake documents,
and the very Watchmen style.
Yeah.
I love that, bro. I love that. So, it really expands upon it. Then it lets you loose on your, the way that you normally like to write.
Yeah. So there's actually going to be 3 separate stories that are told in the back matter. One that takes place in 1938, 1970, and 2017. So a lot of these characters that you meet, they impact like Earth in not so great ways. So they might be like a good character or a helpful character in Junction, but on Earth they could be like a malevolent character because of the way they treat like human lives. So there's like layers to like a good character here might be a bad character to like humans because they they don't really care for humans or
this
the lifespan.
Works this guy and some other stuff, man. I would not be able to hang out with you guys, I think. Shit. Oof, look at this page. Talk about this again, and look at the usage of the panels here, the lines. I mean,
yeah, Luciano is like obsessive about that, like creating chaos with the panel layouts, and
it's dope. So dope.
And I just keep telling him like, make it as gory as you want. We keep pushing as the issues go on.
I mean, it looks so cinematic. The bottom was it 5? It just takes your eye. Boom, boom, wonderful, and a nice zigzag like a Z.
Yeah,
love it, yo, love it. You guys are doing amazing books. How many issues we're looking at here?
It's going to be 6 issues.
6.
Yeah.
And the
third issue is a larger issue. It actually has like an 8-page, like you flip the comic upside down and the back, and then there's an 8-page like 1970s style like zine.
No way.
That's like a different. Yeah, it's a different artist that I know from Brazil. Their name's Danger Jazz. Okay. And they do.
What do you do when you find these guys? Loco Gonzalez, Danger Jazz.
They all want to use. They all want to use nicknames.
I'm gonna just call these the Pescatore Rangers. I dig it.
So and Scout was cool. They've been cool with everything so far, which has been awesome for us. Like anything.
That was an amazing label, man.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think Gut Ghost was a book I saw by them. That's like really what put me on like them on my radar.
Okay.
And I really like enjoyed their stuff, and I was like, that was one of my. It was like them humanoids.
Yeah, H1. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what I was looking for.
Yeah, great publishers.
Yeah.
All of them great independent publishers, but you're with Scout, man, and Scout be smashing it. They got definitely an amazing line of books. I mean, look, folks, this is how simple it is. The things are below. I've been showing them off, but you want to follow Tom right there. Twitter, TC Pescatore. Instagram there's a long one for this. if_I_don't_get_out_there. And then Junction City Comics very easily over there. But those are the instas. Check that out below. All right, click away. All right, support independent creators. Get this ordered at your LCS like ASAP. All right, seriously, it's coming out next month, right, brother?
Yeah, February 22nd.
There you go. So get your orders in. Tell your LCS again. You know what I did in the notes? I put the diamond order code. I made it that easy for you. So show the love. Go to your favorite LCS. Say this. Here's the code. Made it easy for you guys. Toma. Put this on my pull list. Believe you me, you won't regret it. So what else is in store in the future of the Pescatore verse and whatnot? What's going on?
We're working on a possible sequel, and I'm still doing Junction City Comics. So
nice. So what's up with Junction City Comics? Talk to me about that label a bit, and is there anything we could expect from there? It's like a connected superhero universe. I write a teenage superhero book. My friend does a crime noir called Mr. Disaster, and then we have a dimensional travel book called The Fancy Men. Okay. And we kind of did so unlike like Watchmen that ends with an explosion,
our story kind of begins with one, and then we wanted to do a different take on like mentor protege. So the original team disappears, and the teenage team becomes kind of the mentors to the original team who had failed, in their superhero lives. They were more like godlike beings, and the teenage kids are just like trying to be superheroes. They just want to be like good people.
Ooh.
So.
Ooh.
And
wait a minute, I didn't get that link though. Because other than Junction City Comics, do you have a website?
I don't think we have a website, do we?
Okay.
Maybe we do. I don't know. But
he's too busy writing that he doesn't manage none of that, folks. He's too busy.
So yeah, I just wanted it to look different, than mainstream comics. So focused more on like realistic looking costumes, a lot of like character based kind of stuff. Although I can't help myself with like big crazy ideas. So eventually like time travel and all kinds of stuff.
It's comic books. We need all of that craziness. That's the one place that is very accepted. Where you gotta hang up disbelief because it's a comic book. Just have fun and enjoy the ride, folks. The Junction Jones is gonna take you someplace. But Pescatore and Loco Gonzalez over here, I'm telling you, they're gonna make you go loco for real with this. Like, loco I need the next one to come out now, Tonyo, now, all right? No, for real, Tom, you're awesome, but I just want to say, as a fan of comic books, to you, thank you for being a creator that's willing to put your stuff out there. F it all. Just this is me. Enjoy it. So thank you for being brave and bold and putting out such a dope comic book. I can't wait to read the rest of the series and check out the trouble that homie gets into in his wild world. I appreciate it. So thank you and your homie and your whole creative team at Scout Comics. Thank you. Big shout out to Melissa as well for hooking us up. So Melissa, awesome.
She's awesome.
So if you're a creator, you need help with your project campaign, contact. It's actually should be Don't Hide PR. I don't know why I said Don't Die. Wait a minute,
Junction Jones stuff.
Yeah, it's a Junction Jones version, right? There we go. Don't Hide PR. Don'tHidePR.com. Check them out. Real great agency. So with that, I've been sharing. I'm gonna do it one more time. I won't do that other one that was so long, right? I would just read it out to you. But again, on Twitter, Tom Pescatore, Instagram. If I don't get out there, a bunch of underscores in between the words, and Junction City Comics. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. Make sure to click away, support independent creators like homie Big Tom. You got a great future ahead of him and Loco and everybody else. Again, I can't wait what else your sick mind comes up with, because you are a sick old brother in a very good way. And I appreciate the shit out of that. But, again, thank you for sharing in that with us.
Thank you.
Nah, brother, it is what it is, kid. Well, appreciate you being on. And folks, check me out and my big homie Dodgy every Saturday night at 8 p.m. live on Comic Crusaders World on YouTube for the Year 9 Wepa Show. Just an hour and more of just a bunch of shenanigans, comic books, and all that crazy goodness, right? And of course, my extended family, the Film Crusade, outside the panel, Cinema Crusaders, they're all over the place. Undercover Cave, check them out there, all right? I also tells you the rest to do. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Much love. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.